Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the
Hello.
Abomination Goddess podcast. I am here with Casie Halseth. She is the author of Abomination Born, and it is a fictional portrayal of her real life and experiences in the mystical realms. Her action-packed book is just full of lessons and insights and calls for other Abomination Born folks around the world to start connecting. And you will find it in our podcast. We make that super easy for you because we talk about everything that you could ever come across. And we want you to know you are not weird, you are normal, and you're just like us. She is an award-winning public speaker, and I think that you'll find by watching this podcast and reading her books that she just effortlessly draws her audiences into her world, both in her book and on her stage. Welcome, Casie. I love having you with me every Wednesday.
Thank you.
Yes. And I am Ashley Kim. I am the author of a nonfiction book titled Villain Era Goddess. I wrote this book to help women on their journey to set boundaries, build confidence, and to heal themselves. It is a very honest look and open look at what I went through and the tools that I used to survive my villain era. And I wrote this book so that you are not alone, and I will go on your journey with you through the book. And then that's the thing about our podcast is that we will go on your journey with you, both of us. We're both on Substack too, so you can connect with us there. It's usually on the bottom part of our podcast video. You can find the Substack information, but reach out to us. We are always wanting to connect with other Abomination Born folks. Sorry, my allergies are bad. Oh, goodness. Okay. All right. So we always start our weekly podcast off with some show and tell. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. We have a lot of fun things today, everybody. Okay. So I am going to, should we start with the tarot cards and then we can get
Yes.
into book
Yeah.
things last? Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I apologize, I did not sort these, but I will kind of just scroll around. This is so gorgeous. I cannot get over this.
Yeah. I picked this up at the Gypsy Soul um, metaphysical event in Fort Smith. I think that was a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. And this is a tarot. It's called Spirit Song Tarot. And the elephant is the book, the box that it came in, and the Spirit Song Tarot with the dragonfly is the book.
Yes. Oh, it's gorgeous.
I know, I
And I
just
think
love every one of them.
yes, and yeah,
And
here we go. There
there's
is a
the
card in there.
penguin. Hmm.
Yes. Nine of shells.
9 of shells. And see the little V that she's got there is a little triangle upside down.
Yep.
That represents water.
Mhm.
And so this is in the water, the nine of water. So that would be going around the circle. You start off with fire, then you go into water, and then air, and then minerals. And
Mhm.
this is the water. And what's really
Yes.
significant for me is I pulled this up, and uh, the reason it really hit me was the nine, the penguin dives deep into the water. That's one of the things it's known for. If you've ever watched them on TV, how they dive and they go so deep and so quickly,
Hmm.
so deep, and and that is what is really important about the nine, the nine of cups, they call it. Nine of water is going diving deep, and that means that you're willing to really look at the very, very deep emotions that are
Oh.
going on. And so for me, and I think this time of year things like that come up. Uh,
Hmm.
it's very, 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 very deep. And so I thought this was really appropriate for me is the nine of, they call it the nine of shells. And anytime you pick up shells or are attracted to shells, you're dealing with things of the water. You're in the water. So you're dealing with emotions.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Hmm.
This is gorgeous. And I love it says gratitude and fulfillment on there. I love
Yeah.
that too.
And so as deep as you go and as whatever it is that's really deep inside emotionally to be grateful for every moment.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think one of the things I've been working on lately is being grateful for the downs, diving deep,
Yeah, yeah,
even if I'm in an uncomfortable situation, just being grateful for being in that moment and whatever it is
yeah,
I'm supposed to glean from it. And it has started to really help me, get through some situations that maybe I'd want to just wallow in pity. Instead, I'm not anymore. I'm just jumping back up and, taking my lessons and moving on. So I love this.
yeah. I know. I love her whole deck. It's Paulina Faye, Fae.
Okay.
It's just a wonderful. It's a complete tarot deck.
Oh, really? Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, that
Hmm.
is so cool. I love it. Okay. And then I think this is from the book just to show people. Yeah, this is oh, I like this. Keywords: happiness, gratitude, wishes fulfilled, comfort, triumph, inspiration, abundance,
Hmm.
rewards.
Hmm.
Yep. Oh, I love that. Um,
And it says Penguin is proficient at diving deep down beneath the surface.
yep. I love that. His gratitude radiates, casting a wave of awakening across the sky. Oh,
Hmm.
it kind of gives me goosebumps. Very neat. Okay. Sorry, sorry, viewers. We have a lot of stuff on here. Do we want to go
Yeah,
into the stone?
yeah. Let's go into the stone, sure.
Okay. Ooh,
And Nine of Cups is kunzite, and this is my stone, and it has a little more of a rust color to it than pink. It's usually in the pink, but when it
okay.
has a little more iron in it, it'll come out a little more on the rust color. And kunzite, well, kunzite is a stone that really helps me to focus, especially when I'm when I'm looking at things that are really deep inside me emotionally. And kunzite is a stone that if I can use to really, and you notice how these are like almost squared off. They're
Yeah.
octagon shapes, how they come out on here on this
Uh-huh.
stone. Well, every time you have a stone that has something jutting out in it and going out in different directions, this means that you're dealing with other people in your life. At least this is how I have always used stones. And so this is helping me to realize that when I go deep, I'm really looking at emotions I have with other people,
Oh, okay.
and it's very
Yeah.
comforting for me.
Yeah. I like that. Um,
And butterfly is the also the one of the symbols for the Nine of Cups, and of course that's transformation.
hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that is beautiful. And then it looks like this is from the app that you have on your
Yeah,
phone.
yeah. It
Um,
says helps to focus when needed, and yeah, if you're into the Nine of Cups, you need to focus and really look at why am I thinking about this? Why have I gone so deep?
yeah, boost confidence in social situations too. So that's dealing with the relationships of other people, like you were
Yes,
saying.
other people. Hmm.
Uh-huh. Ugh, yeah, I need one of these. Oh, wow. I love that. Okay, so we have I'm just gonna go and pull this up because I like to read along with
Oh yeah. Today
with
is the
the
highlight. Today is the major day of the Lyrid meteor shower, and I sure hope that we can see it tonight. It has been cloudy every single night. It'll be in the northeast sky toward the horizon, and you'll see Vega. Vega will be on your left, and it'll be the brightest star on the horizon on the left. And then just above that and to the right will be where all the Lyrid meteors will be coming. They'll be shooting out. Then
Mhm.
that's isn't that something?
Wow. Yeah.
And I haven't been able to see it yet, but tonight it
No.
it might be okay. And it'll be right after sunset. As soon as it gets dark, we'll be able to see it
Okay.
just
Yeah.
above the tree line.
Yep. Oh yeah, I hope. Last night wasn't too cloudy for us, but they're saying that we might have thunderstorms tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of the way it goes sometimes. Oh, here's another. There's Vega,
Hmm.
and then here's where, yeah, this is helpful to see these. Um, ooh, yeah. And then we have another, oh, did I not? well, never mind. The smiley face in the sky. Um,
Oh
I
yeah.
thought that I had put that in here, but maybe I didn't. It's between the moon and a couple stars. Let me see. I think I have this somewhere. I'm gonna just upload it real quick while we're chatting. Um, because I think this is so cool, especially after reading your book. Um, where it now, whenever I see a smiley face, I'm like, ooh, look, look,
Yes.
look. Okay,
That's
let's
the
see. It should
Ancient
be,
of Days.
yes, Ancient of Days. All right. I think it's down at the bottom.
There
Okay.
it is.
So, yeah, a rare
Yes.
smiley face, planetary alignment. So it's the sun, or good God, the moon. And then, yeah, I think they're, let me see if I have a better, does this one show kind of where it is? Okay. Oh, here. So this kind of shows you everything that's involved, in the smiley face, but it is very rare and it is coming. I
So
will
it'd
put the
be
dates.
Venus and Saturn are the two things that you'll see there then?
Yes, that's the way I understood it.
Okay.
I can put more info in our newsletter that goes out with this so that people can look it up. But I don't know, I just thought what a really good reminder right now. I love this.
Hmm. Hmm.
My brain needed
And
it.
and remember the Ancient of Days is the one who's connected to the web, and the web is everywhere and everything is connected. And so it always shows up as a smiley face. It's always
Yes.
got that grin.
Yes. Yeah, I think learning more about that through your book and through you as well, made me just so excited about this coming up. So yeah, I will include more information on that. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna save this other stuff for
Hmm.
last. So I'm gonna go
Hmm.
into, if this is okay with you.
Yep.
My daughter and I have been out collecting our dandelion blossoms from the yard. So we have moved away from spraying our lawn. We're trying to get everything set up for pollinators. So our lawn is very pretty right now with yellow blooms from dandelions, unless that makes your skin crawl and then you wouldn't like this. But we do.
Oh,
And then we have a bunch of other plants flowering in our yard as well. And it's just gorgeous. So we
oh,
picked those. And my daughter and I, we are going to make a salve with it.
nice.
And so I can put these, actually, maybe instead of the photos, I'll just put the link and how to make your own. But it seems pretty simple and it helps with skin irritations and stuff like that for your skin that you want to heal. So I thought that would be fun to do. So we're currently drying them out on our Valentine's Day towel here. And yeah, we'll make a salve out of it. And then just, I also have a book about just natural healing and herbs and stuff. So I think we also might try, I'm going to harvest some of the leaves and stems and get them all cleaned up. And then I'm going to freeze them so that I can crumble them in my smoothies and then mix it with kale and spinach and my berries and everything else and try it out that way. Get a little bit of a liver detox going too.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah. And so this has all been my last year I've started to, before I pull a weed, I do a Google search on it and see if it really is a weed or if it's something that Mother Nature is trying to give me. And this is part of it. So, and we didn't pick all of them. We left some for the bumblebees and anybody else who is coming out and needs some food. So,
You're such a good
uh
mom, Ashley.
thank you. No, my 5-year-old Nova, she wanted to name every single ant that because there were some of the dandelions growing where some of our ants like to crawl, and so she wanted to name every single one of them. And then
Of
she got
course.
overwhelmed, and so she said, "Well, maybe I can't name them all." I said, "No, probably not, but so
Give
you'll
them a
try."
family name. These are
Yeah,
they
true.
they all are of a certain clan.
Yes, that's true. Actually, she would love that. I will tell her that. Okay, so another thing I wanted to show because I do think that art is everything. Oh, I should have brought your self-portrait that you put on. on Instagram too. But I think art and joy are closely tied together. And so I
Yes,
think,
yes.
having your art. So I saw this idea on Pinterest where people take a page out of a book and then they highlight words that are positive feeling words and then they doodle around them. And so I decided to I guess give myself I don't know, a challenge. And I ripped a page out of a murder mystery book. And then I was like, oh, it's kind of hard to find some positive feeling words with like kill and murder and like all this stuff. But I did find some. And so I highlighted those and then I did my doodle and I love it. It was so
I
fun.
love it too.
Yeah, I was up with a sick kiddo and playing on Pinterest and saw this and then immediately once I got her back down, went to the kitchen with my flashlight out and yeah, started on it. I was so excited. So it's so easy. And yeah,
That
I
is
recommend it.
that's a wonderful idea.
Yes. Yeah, in this book, I've tried to read this book, I want to say 20 times I've picked this book up and I just could not get into it. And then I even skipped chapters, like just try to get into it and I couldn't. And I thought, well, I'm going to use it for this. So, yeah. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, what a great idea. I
Thank
am
you.
going to do that.
Yeah, it was so fun. Okay. One more thing to show. I just happened to see this somewhere and I Googled it to see if it was real, but they were talking about like the word weird and where it came from, and it isn't how we use it today. And so it used to be having power to control fate. Um, and so I don't know, I really liked this of
I had
yes,
no
call me
idea.
weird. I love it.
Yeah,
Call
I
me
had
weird
no
anytime you
idea.
want. Yeah, I didn't either. And obviously, it's been slowly changed and it was changed kind of like throughout literature and how it's been used that way. And then people kind of picked up on it and morphed it on their own. But yeah, we're weird. So we will do what we can do.
Forces that sets events in motion or determines their course, what is destined to befall one. And that's weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
The old from Old English, weird, fate, change, fortune, destiny, the fates.
Yeah.
That is
Who
so
would have known?
neat.
Yeah. So if somebody calls you weird, give them a thumbs up and tell them thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
The
Well,
weirding way. Remember that term, the weirding way?
oh no, I do not.
Yeah, that's an old term that I used to hear a lot is the weirding way.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm going to look that up and learn more about it. Okay. So, one of the things we're going to talk about today is we're going to dig into Casey's book a little bit more. I'm going to stop sharing just for a second, but we do have some visuals that we can get into. So, Casey's book is available on Amazon. Oh, what's the audiobook? Oh, it's right there. Audible. Look on her screen,
Audible.
on her background, Audible and then Kindle. So it is literally every version. The Audible version, our book editor did that, and it is so good. She did such a good
Hmm.
job. So yeah, however you want to get it. I like having physical copies in my hands. But we are going to just deep dive into, I think it's chapter 2 we're going to get into a little bit more today. And you might remember when I introduced Casey on the podcast, her book is oh, what is the term that you used for it, where it's fiction, but it's
Auto
telling
auto fantasy, like an
auto,
autobiography and fantasy together.
yes,
You combine them, and so they call it an auto fantasy.
auto fantasy. And one of the really cool things about her book is that she has real life experiences in here. It's obviously done through storytelling, which is amazing. And this is, the really cool thing about it too is like I can read it to my daughter and this will stick with her, right? And so if she sees things or come across things, she can remember them. But as adults, we get to read it and then remember things like, oh, that's right, this happened to me, or this feels familiar to me, which is how some of it was for me. I can't say, oh, I remember seeing that, but I remember the checkered floor, for example, being like a punch to the gut of, oh, I know that. I don't know how I know it, but I know it, just things like that. So, with her book, and we're going to go through chapter 2 because there are so many characters and um, ideas that are introduced that are huge, not just, to us individually, but kind of for the collective, I think anyway. And so I'm super excited to get into this. Yeah. And so one of the, let's see, this is chapter 2, where we meet Onigar. Am I saying that correctly?
Onigar.
Onigar. Okay. Spelled Onigar. Onigar. And so I'm going to share my screen real quick again because you found some gorgeous. Okay, so we have two that you found
I
on
got these
Pinterest.
pictures from Instagram,
Oh, Instagram.
and
Okay.
yes, isn't it wonderful?
Oh my
But
gosh, yes.
this is Onagar is a tree woman, and she has a human face, and the rest of her is tree, just like this picture with the branch arms and hands and branch
Mhm.
body. The only difference is Onagar wears a golden crown with a moonstone in the center.
Okay. And let's see, let's look at this one. This one's a pretty one too.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so cool. Um, yes, and she is a very important character in chapter 2.
Yes.
Um,
Throughout
and
throughout
she,
the whole series. Yes,
yes,
all of
yeah,
them are. Yeah.
yeah. And she is one of, you know, baby Marnie gets taken by the Overwatch angel. I'm sorry,
The
my brain
Watcher
just
Angel.
Watcher angel, and he is not very kind to her.
Mm-mm.
But Onagar is, and she smells good, and she's kind, and she helps in that regard. And so let's see here. I so Casey's amazing, and I kept her with every, even with my first breath of Earth's air, I knew something went wrong. No one removed my veil of forgetfulness. And so maybe we can talk real quick about the veil of forgetfulness, for those who don't remember, because we did talk about that when we were going through chapter 1.
Yeah, we
Um,
did. But it's good to remember a lot of people wonder why they don't know anything about the other realms. And so, therefore, it doesn't exist. It's just so far out from them. And the reason is of the veil of forgetfulness. And Grandma used to say that, when you have the veil of forgetfulness pulled down over you, uh, then you wouldn't know anything about the other side. You wouldn't be able to see spirits or hear things or be sensitive, but that it doesn't mean that that's bad. It's just that this is the lifetime that you chose not to be aware of anything.
oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I never thought about it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah, this is your lifetime to see if you could still seek the higher source even though you don't know it really exists. Whereas if the veil is lifted, then you already know it exists. And so why wouldn't someone seek it all the time? But for
Right.
someone who has it pulled down all the way, they've chosen a lifetime of um, testing themselves. Will
Mhm.
they still seek it even with the veil all the way down, where they absolutely do not get any, they don't talk to stones, they don't talk to trees, they don't talk to animals, they're not one with nature. Will they still seek the higher source? Will they still seek that joy? And so they've come into this world to test themselves. And before they come in there saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be fine." How could I possibly not want to seek the joy? You know, I'll
Right.
be fine. But once they get here, with that veil down, they forgot that they even agreed to that.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I guess, and I don't know if this is even a question that you want to answer, but why would someone why would someone choose to have it down? Or like just to choose to see if they can even do it?
To have it down all the way, anyone who would choose to have it down all the way is usually a person who has been through it all already, and they're a very high
Mm,
being. I mean, very high, and they are they've already been through so many different wonderful lifetimes and been to different every planet you can think of, every realm.
yeah.
They know it all already, and so they finally want to have a challenge for themselves because
Yeah.
what's new? And the newest thing would be to not know anything. And
Okay.
they think, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be
I've already
easy.
done it a million times. I could do
Yeah,
that. And then,
I could do that. I will, I know I'll choose the light. I know I will,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so they'll choose the most difficult life of all, to have that veil down, to be a
Yeah.
person who does not sense anything.
Yeah.
And that
Oh,
is the
wow.
most
So,
difficult life.
yeah, it is like being dropped into a game where you've won this game a million times, but then somebody removes all the rules, everything from you, and drops you back in, and you get to play again with nothing.
Yeah. And so you begin to start off with, you begin everything that's like in your game, you begin to think that everything that, like you see on TV or you hear on the radio, or anyone who talks to you about stuff, you begin to think, oh yeah, this is how it is, this is how it is. And I only believe in things that I can see and touch, and so they live in this one plane. And for them to go beyond that, that's a real challenge. And, for someone like me who has the veil lifted already,
Yeah.
it's like piece of cake,
Right, right.
So I have it so easy, and they have set themselves up for a very, very, very difficult
Hmm.
situation. And so they would be someone I would consider on a much higher level than me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
very
so do you
much
think
so.
they live with like something inside of them telling them there's more? And then, like, is that what kind of keeps that quest of
The
information going or
the higher they are, the less they can hear, or the less they can even know.
really? Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
yeah. Because
Wow.
they're the ones who set it up. I want to come to this, I want to come to this plane and give it a try and see if I can do all this with nothing.
Yeah.
And
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Yeah. And it's hard to sit here and think, why would I ever sign up for anything like that? Like, why would I do that to myself? But yeah, I mean, we don't even remember where we were when we were making these decisions, right? Because we remember nothing. We have,
right, right,
yeah.
right.
Oh, that is
So
so
so for
interesting.
those people, and that's why it's it's not for me to take people out of where they're at. They can
Mhm.
they can stretch themselves, but they should not be taken out of that, because this
Yeah.
is their journey. And if they're deprived of their journey, then they've failed what they came to do. And
Yeah.
they wanted to awaken on their own in this world.
Yeah.
They can see people like you and me. They can listen to people talking about these odd things, and but the moment that they begin to think, huh, maybe am I one of those people that wanted it completely closed off?
Yeah.
And once they begin to start to let it, has to be a permission from inside them.
Mhm.
Then their veil can begin to start to awaken, but they have to be
Yeah.
able to do it themselves.
Oh, wow.
And
That
there,
is so
those are the
interesting.
people that are, yeah, those are the people that are really high. And even people who are very dark, I mean, very dark, do really bad things, really bad
Mhm.
things. Those are usually people who started off as very, 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 very high
Really?
beings. And they thought, oh, it'll be, of course I'm going to choose the higher source. Of course I'm going to choose the light. And then they
Right.
don't.
They don't do it. Oh my gosh. That is
And
just,
yeah,
yeah, that is just wild to me. That is
yeah,
so
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Um, I don't know why this reminded me, but you saying that they're coming with nothing, right? And that usually means they're an even higher being.
yeah.
But I remember reading somewhere where somebody said atheists don't believe in anything, but that usually means that that's because they have the most knowledge of like, so like people want to say that an atheist isn't spiritual at all, but it usually means that subconsciously they're probably one of the most spiritual people because they're not falling for every single thing that's in front of them, like if that makes sense. I don't know why what you said kind of
On the
correlated
same
that.
way, yeah, it goes
Yeah.
with the same thinking that the the people who really truly have a nothing,
Hmm.
they have no understanding of anything outside themselves.
Yeah.
They're the ones who have got themselves closed down so tight.
Hmm.
And when and if they decide to lift it up, then they'll begin to usually those are the ones who, when they do lift it up, they can lift it up in a blink of an eye. They're that powerful.
Dang. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. And they can
Wow.
just get it, you know.
Yeah.
And you see people like people who are like in prisons and things, they will they will just get it. All of a sudden they'll just get it that and they go from being this horrible thinking person of why is this world doing this to me to being like, oh, okay, I
Yeah.
understand why now. Yes,
Yeah.
I
I
set
get
this
it.
up.
Oh, wow. That is so interesting. I love that. I feel like I could talk about that for hours.
I know, isn't it? I think it's so fascinating. And
It
in the
is.
story, I talk about the people who have their life force cut, the
Yeah.
connection that they have to the higher source. And that is where so a person has their veil down and they don't want to if they do not want to ever even consider connecting to the source, and
Hmm.
something or someone comes along and says, oh, let me cut your cord to the source, you know not to other people. I'm not talking about horizontal, I'm talking about that vertical one.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, okay, well, they can give the permission, and the next thing you know, they are in they're in that pit. And even
Okay.
though they're awake and they're doing things, they're in this place of quiet quitting. And so
Hmm.
they're no longer just living and enjoying the world. Now they're just like, oh, there's nothing to this world.
Yeah. They're
Why am
just
I
suffering
here?
through it.
Yes, suffering through it. Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that is so
Exactly.
interesting.
So
Okay.
that's a deeper
Yeah.
level. That's a deeper, and I cover that even more in book 3. But
Hmm.
yeah, I try to
Yeah.
introduce all these things a little bit at a time with
Yeah.
as it moves through.
Right. Yes. And that is something that I do appreciate about your storytelling and the way that you do it is it is easy to understand and to process. So yeah, I appreciate that you do it that way. I love
And
that.
that's kind of how it was done with me when I was very little. Um, uh, I didn't know all that I know now,
Hmm.
because they would tell me these all the instructions I had came from these beings on the other side.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I would learn these things,
Yeah.
little bit by
Yep.
little bit.
Yeah. Yes, that makes sense. Um, okay, so kind of on the same lines on pages 13 and pages 14, um, Onigar says a particular world's inhabitants are deteriorating from the lack of life force. They found temporary refuge, but the place eventually will not support them. Their first their thirst for anyone's life force is too destructive and will soon spread like a disease.
Yeah.
And then on 14, she says, since they no longer get life force from the supreme source, they will take it from others, and any world they touch will suffer. Um, yeah, can you talk more just about those concepts? Because when I read it, I felt like, oh, I've met those people, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
maybe I haven't, I don't know, but it kind of like there are people that like the energy vampires or and maybe
Yeah.
that's not even what this means, but the
No, that
people who
is
just
what it is.
oh, okay, yeah, that just suck it all out of you.
Right.
But yeah, if is that okay if we
Yeah, that's
um
exactly what it is the I'm talking about the energy vampires. And it's because they're not getting it from the source. And now you can call source whatever you want. Some people call it God, higher power, whatever. But everybody knows when you're connected to that, and So it's a knowing thing.
yep.
And when it's for some people who are, even though they're not disconnected from it, they choose not to connect to it, and they choose to take somebody else's. So they go
Mhm.
horizontal, and they'll take the
Yes.
life force out of somebody else. And you always know when you're by somebody or near somebody who is like that because you're drained afterwards,
Yes. Yeah.
totally drained. And it's
Yep.
like, oh my God, you have to, like me, I will go. I have to be by myself for a little while and reconnect, and I pull in the life force,
Yeah.
and yeah. So,
Yes.
and people don't know that they're doing that sometimes. It's
Hmm.
worked for them in the past, and so they do it. And men and women will do it. Uh, Women will do it sometimes through how they look and how they dress, and they will they will use their feminine wiles, kind of like that,
Oh.
sometimes. And that is what they use to uh, do a horizontal sucking of
Hmm.
energies. And men
Yep.
will also do that. Um,
Hmm.
and so uh, that's one way that people do it, rather than getting all their joy and energy
Hmm.
from above. They
Yeah.
and from it going down into the earth, because the earth mother will send it up to you. It's just wonderful when it's going the
Yeah.
right way.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I know I will come home sometimes after being, in groups and I physically hurt. Like it feels like someone beat me up. And that's when I was reading that, I thought I wondered if that was part of, why I would come home and just feel horrible. Um, and then you talking about this is, I don't know. You tell me if this even ties together, but you know how my brain likes to jump around. um Talking about how women dress and then they get that attention that way and kind of suck that energy. I was filling out a survey on it was actually like it's this fitness switch that I'm following, and so she had you fill out this questionnaire to really think about, do you really want to be fit? Like, do you really want to be fit? And so I like meditated on it, and my answer was no. At the end of the day, no, I didn't, because I don't want anyone looking at me. I don't want any energy coming at me. And when you are a fitter person, you do get more of that. And so it like helped me categorize why I'm so like pushing that away from me, because I do need to be healthier. I do need to be doing all these things, but there's always a barrier to me doing it. And so then I did realize that there were different energies that I would get when I was, a size 4 versus a size 12. Totally different. And one of them felt safer to me than the other one did. And so obviously that's something I have to work through on my own. Because, I should be a size 8, it'd be healthier, but anyway, but
No,
very long and
I know
roundabout.
where you're going with that. Exactly. Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
again, okay, so whenever I'm thinking about what I need to be doing, well, should I do this, or, so I will think the same way. And then I know that I'm usually wrong about everything, but when I'm thinking it myself, I just know that I'm going to go with what my weaknesses are, or whatever. And so that's
Yeah.
where I will go either with a pendulum, and I'll have the
Yes.
pendulum help me. I'll have the tarot cards help me. I'll have the stones help me. I'll have something help me. Or like some people will go to a reader, go to a tarot reader, or go to
Yeah.
somebody to have them. Okay, so they'll say, well, this is what I would do, but now what do you think?
Yeah.
And then maybe they can guide better, or they'll go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, because they know that they can't trust their own decisions on things.
Yep.
They know they want to go further, and
Yes.
it's so yeah, that's
Yeah.
for me. Of course, since I communicate with stones and they never lie to me, I know that
Yeah.
a stone will help me to go in the right
Yep.
direction.
Yeah. I love that. And I have been trying to connect more with water and with trees to see which one I just connect more with. Because yes, like you were saying, and earlier you were saying that, the pendulum thing too that would be a very quick way to get out of my own head and actually check in. And I feel like I was kind of going that way with that, whole fitness survey I filled out, as I realized my own head was blocking me versus, what I really needed to do. But then having you explain, how the direct energies versus the up and down, like how all of that works together, helped open my eyes just a little bit more as well, because I am not probably protecting myself, as much as I should be, either how I connect with people or how I let people connect with me. Which I guess is obvious if I come back from events and I feel like someone beat the crap out of me. So yeah, to me, it is so interesting to learn that. And I think the other thing that's interesting as well, and it's a reminder to keep my ego out of things, is that when you do meet somebody who feels like maybe they're closed off from source or whatever, to know that they chose that for themselves and they're probably even more advanced than me, even though I'm watching them like you're a hot mess and I don't want anything to do with you. But to know that like they were in a position at some point in the universe to make that decision is, I mean, yeah, it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
I think that's
And they
just,
think, oh, no problem. I'll be able to do it. It'll
yeah,
be easy. Just watch me. I'll have
right.
it done in like a snap. As soon as I get there, I'll realize that, that I need to lift up my own veil. And then
Yeah.
they have no idea what they're getting into. So this is
Yep.
this is a place of this realm is a place for people who are very high to come to and really give themselves a chance.
Mhm. Yeah. A chance to prove it. Yep, that's so interesting. And then I'm assuming, let me know if this is wrong, but once you get dropped in here, it is kind of a now it's time to play the game. And
Yes, yes.
it's, you're not always going to make every move perfectly, but it's time to play the game. So,
And you see people who are who go to church maybe every Sunday, and then maybe on a Wednesday or a Sunday night as well, or they go to meetings all the time. Um, for those people, they may really need to, because they know there's more, but they don't know how to tap into it or whatever. And so I'm really happy for them, because they are that is their way to wake up.
yeah,
And hopefully, they'll get it.
yeah.
Uh, I've met some very older ladies. I mean, they were quite old. I used to live in Florida. We lived in Florida for 12 years, and you're not old unless you're in your 90s there. And I met all these old ladies. They were just wonderful. And you could tell the ones who had, after years and years and years of going to church all the time and going to their little
Mhm.
meetings all the time, you could tell the ones who finally were getting it. And they were
Really?
at such a peace. Yes, such a peace. They were so open to everything. You could tell that they had lifted up their own veil. And
Yeah.
then
Oh,
and then there were
yeah.
several other ones who were still, the veil was still down solid, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And I like that reminder too. I am someone who comes from a history of religious trauma where, I grew up in the churches that were like the ones that you hear horror stories about. But so to me, anything church related, I just automatically am like, ew, no. But to hear you describe it that way and that it's a path for somebody to, lift up that veil, because they do
Yeah.
know inside there's something, it allows me to like have a little bit more grace and for those people because I run away. When people say they go to church, I run away. I'm like, nope, I don't want anything to do with that. But that said, I know there are plenty of wonderful people who go to church and they are very open and their veils are lifted a little bit more than even mine. So yeah, that is a good reminder for me.
And when the veil starts to be lifted just a little bit, then the first response for most people is to convert everybody they meet
Yeah,
into, oh, this is
yeah,
the way to do it, because they have no concept that there's a whole lot of people who were born without the veil down. And
yeah,
so it's kind of fun. And for someone like me who sees that, I know exactly where they're coming from and what they're talking about and why they're so gung ho on whatever they're into. Like if they've switched in the 70s, yeah, it was in the very early 70s, all kinds of people were switching to Muslim. And oh, everywhere I went, this was in Minneapolis, everybody was, oh, you've got to come to my, what is it, a temple? I'm not sure.
Mosque.
Mosque, yes.
Yeah.
And and then when we moved down to Florida, what was it down there? Well, not so much any particular religion there. Then it was mostly you've got to go to the beach.
Oh,
And you can't find what you're looking for unless you're sitting at the beach. It was a whole different thing. And come on, you gotta go,
yeah.
gotta sit there,
That's where the
and
answers are.
yeah. And then when we moved to Sedona, everything was, well, come here and listen to this channeler, this person who's channeling, and
Hmm.
they'll tell you the way to go,
Yep.
and, and then now here in the Ozarks, it's every corner in town practically is a different church,
Hmm.
you know, and
Yeah.
uh, it's for someone like me who can see things, it's just,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Seeing that bigger picture, I'm sure. And
Yeah,
then kind
yeah.
of how they fit in these little areas, but they are part of a very big picture, but they think they are the big picture. They're not.
It's because when it starts to be lifted, then they go on this recruiting thing. For the
Yeah.
ones down in Florida who found peace while they were at the beach, then everybody has to come to the beach. That's the only way, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And you have to go see this channeler. You have to go listen to him. I mean, or
Yes.
you
All the
you have,
answers.
yes, yes, and and that's the beginning. That's the beginning, when
Yeah.
as the veil is starting to lift.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I'm sure I've done that too. Yeah, that's hilarious. And so, yeah, you can look back on your own journey, other people listening, and be like, when did I do that? When was I so gung-ho about what I learned that I
Yeah,
had to go tell
yeah.
everybody? Yeah, I love that. That's so funny. Okay, so I'm gonna save my other questions for our next podcast. And we'll go over, yeah. So I won't even get into it because I know once I start asking you, I'm gonna keep going, and then our podcast is gonna be 2 hours long instead of just an hour. So
I know what you mean. I know.
this has been so fun and informative, and I am so grateful for you, Casie. Um I know I probably say this each time and it's redundant, but I mean it every time. I love our chats and I love learning from you. And I love that you show all of us how to be graceful with knowledge and graceful with ignorance, even too, because we can come together and say, I don't have all the questions, but I do have these things that I've learned, right? And and for somebody when, the veil is lifted, you get to watch us sift through that and tell our stories and do all the things, right? But it's done in a way where you're almost like that kindergarten teacher that lets us experiment and play and figure stuff
Yes.
out.
Yes, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. And
Yes.
so, and I appreciate that. And I love it because I like my journey that I'm on and I like that you're a part of it. And I like that I get to do my own self-discovery. And so I think that's one of the things that's missing. And when you talk about joy and when you talk about, sweeping with the broom and even connecting with rocks and trees and water and all that kind of stuff, that is all part of it. Like, and everyone's journey will be slightly different and how they get there. And I think that's the point, right? Is that we all get to do it differently, but we can
Yes.
do it without judgment. And I think that's what you do a very good job of showing people. And hopefully people will see this with our podcast is your journey is so individual to yourself and you should not pass judgment and you should not let people judge you. Don't let people be that sneaky fart judgment, and don't do that to others. So anyway, yeah, I just loved it. This was so fun. And thank you. And everybody, this entire discussion was because of this book. Like this is a good book to start with. And it's done through storytelling. So you and your family can read it together and yeah, start thinking of what questions come up and start meditating on them and your answers will start coming to you. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that we want to get into in 2 minutes? Yep. Okay. Well, everybody look for the meteor showers, look for the smiley face in the sky, and have a wonderful rest of the week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Bye, everyone.